What's up, guys? Welcome to another video. I don't know what to call this one. We're going to be going over, I guess, somewhat latest information that's been coming out. Please excuse, we haven't had, 2 weeks of podcasts. Things have come up. And the news either, because you're usually in charge of the news. But things should resume pretty much after this, coming up in this next coming week. We'll have the podcast and news.
Boy, where there'll be news. There's a lot of stuff that's been happening, and I was able to do the news this week, and after the time my news would have normally released, more stuff has been coming out, so it's going to be all these 2 weeks worth of news all compiled into one, plus I have some opinion parts I want to put inside of the news. Even Argent Saga News is going to have a lot of stuff and some opinion things I'll have on that, and then we have you can look forward to our box opening. It'll probably be a day late, unfortunately, this time around, but just some circumstances going on right now prevent me from grabbing it on a normal time, but it'll be there, and we'll have a cool double box openings for that and Caster Chronicles, so I'm pretty excited about that. But we have a main topic we're going to talk about, and then if we have time or feel like it, there might be some side stuff we go into, but I want to make sure we cover this main topic. And as a preface, this is us sort of going into it. There are probably going to be more information coming out at some point. I'm currently doing some delving into it, and so I've sent out a couple emails and messages to different people or companies, and I'm waiting to hear back for that. So probably either with the TCG news or as a separate video, I'll hopefully do something more in depth. But this is sort of our immediate letting you guys know what is going on, because this could actually immediately affect a lot of people and give our sort of thoughts on it.
Yeah. So fill me in, because I know I picked up on some of it and I missed some things. I had fallen asleep and I woke up to you messaging me. So what all happened? What exactly has happened today?
So this started this morning with me personally. I got a message from actually didn't ask him if I could say his name or not. So if it was okay for me to say your name, just comment below and I'll be sure to heart it. But he messaged me and with letting me know that one of his orders that he had done for Force of Will Decisive Battle of Valhalla, or whatever the name of the set is, was canceled because the person he had bought it from on eBay sent him a message saying that they basically didn't get the full orders fulfilled, and I'll go over that in a sec. I'll just go the summary and then we'll backtrack and go over details. But there was that, and so I was like, oh shoot. And so I started researching. I messaged the guy on eBay. I emailed and messaged some distributors and some other people. So as I'm in the background, oh man, I gotta figure all this out and hopefully get this out there before people start getting confused on what's going on, and before people start jumping on it, so I can try and make sure we get the correct information out there. And as I'm doing that, all of a sudden, someone did a post talking about it. I was like, oh, dang it. Well, it's okay. It's just one post. And then Rudy came out with a video about it. I was like, all right, well, I guess there's not a big a rush anymore. I mean, we'll put this video out, but my research rush is slowed down a bit, so I'll be able to spend more time on that.
And then a second post came out.
Did a second post? I must have missed that one.
It was one post, the video, a second post. Yeah.
Okay, you have to point out the second post. I have the other two pulled up. So I'd got the message from the guy, and I'm going to it'll show up on the screen here, but let me pull it up here. So he had sent us the screenshot that the seller on eBay had sent him after his orders, what happened with his booster box order, and they said that they got a message from GTS Distribution. That's one of the people I'm waiting to hear back from yesterday morning, and they said they're very disappointed in Force of Will, that Force of Will has cut all distributors by over 80% last minute for no given reason. His salesperson said that he got off a conference call and they are all totally screwed by Force of Will as they cut allocations last minute for no given reason. Accounts are cut across the board, and there's a slew of angry birds in the henhouse, including some other players who buy big volume, etc. He said it's a company-wide disaster, not just American Games and Toys. Every single account was cut. And he said they've been trying to get in contact with other people to try and get boxes to fulfill the pre-order requests, but they haven't had luck because other people were either sold out or were cut as well, according to them. They have, and it's basically went into like suggestions for the person who messaged us on what they could possibly do as far as getting a box, but they didn't have, obviously a whole lot of solutions for it. So, disclaimer, obviously, I'm still waiting to hear from GTS to confirm this. The eBay seller, not saying they're not reputable, they are reputable. They have a, 99.8% positive feedback from, if I remember how eBay works, that's 122,000 either transactions or feedback things. It's been a while since I've used eBay.
Mm-hmm. Was it a seller, or because I know they can technically buy stuff and still get that same percentage of feedback?
It says about the seller. I don't know if that means they're solely a seller, but 99.8. So they probably had maybe this is the point too, but no. This was verified later in the day that this is probably accurate. But the main thing I want to hear back from is GTS. I had contacted Southern Hobby, which is the other big U.S. distributor, and I might not have worded it perfectly, but from the way I worded it, they said that they got their orders, they are just sold out. But that could also mean that they usually they send out the pre-orders plus 10%, and they might not have gotten that 10%, so that they're technically just instantly sold out as soon as they receive the product, which is something else I had heard, is that they're not printing the extra 10% as well on top of that. So that was the details of that thing that sort of turned me onto this all. And then there's a post in the global group of someone else who said they were shorted a Force of Will product. They're shorted boxes by the company, and that he specifically would not be getting the 4 boxes that he had already pre-ordered. And I don't know if there's anyone to point out, but there's several comments in that comment section talking about the exact same thing happened to them as well.
Well, I wanted to point out some of them that were outside of the U.S. There's some European players who were commenting, saying the same thing happened to them, that they didn't get any product on some of the orders they put in. They were just their orders were just declined, essentially.
Yeah. Sorry for the beep. Let me real quick mute that. But yeah, as far as the European ones was one that specifically came up, and that one is going to be a little bit harder for me to look into because I only speak English, and they do not. So I'm trying to figure out how I might go about contacting those companies without using Google Translate and looking like a jerk. But we'll see. I might just have to go ask players in Europe and sort of take their word on it.
You could communicate. You'd be surprised. They might know English.
The distributors? But
yeah, see, I messaged distributors in Chile for that card game I've been trying to get.
Oh yeah. But the one that I looked up didn't have a Facebook page, so I went to their website and it's all in another language, and I was like, I don't even know where to start. I'm gonna look at this later.
It's worth a shot. That's all I'm saying.
I know. I'll do it later, but at this point in time, I was like, I don't want to figure that out right now. So there's that. I asked Dylan Hunt, who he runs his store in Canada. He said his distributor is perfectly fine. He actually got all his product, and the distributor still has more product if he would decide he wanted to go and order more as well. So Canada is unaffected, like always. Free Canada.
And then now they're going to comment like 20 other issues they get that you're like, no, we're affected by these other things, Colin. What the heck are you talking about?
He said he didn't get all his promos, but he has, I think, tracking, or he's looking into getting more of those. But that was another thing we had heard is trouble getting all of the promos for the buy 2 box promos, what I assume is the loose promo serve waving about. People aren't getting, but that's par for the course at this point. And at least this time you can pull that card in the box, so it's not as big of a deal that we're not getting that if you don't get it. Just plan on not getting a buy 2 box promo, and then if you get one, you'll be like, oh wow, that's cool.
And looking at ratios, buying 2 boxes and getting that promo, you're gonna get at least 3 Kaguya's out of that situation, possibly.
Yeah. So but there's there's the order cut, and then the Rudy video came out, and stupid talk, sorry. Let me actually pull. If you want to talk about that other post, while I'll pull up Rudy's official post.
Well, I was actually gonna. I don't have the other post pulled up at all. I couldn't find it. No, what I was gonna say is like on Rudy's video. I know I didn't probably understand it 100%. I was a little distracted while trying to watch it, so you're probably gonna fill me in more on that. But I feel like there's certain parts that did have this information that may cause unnecessary panic. You know.
Let me real quick read his.
Because hearing what you said about like Canada has plenty of product, Southern Hobby got at least what they ordered, not the 10% over, or knowing there's a 10% over. Like the product's there, at least at most distributors, from the sounds of it. But he's making it sound like the product was going to be scarce, which started to make me think that the prices would go high on singles. And
let me read his
$200 boxes and stuff.
Let me read his post he did on Patreon for patrons, because at least this is typed out, so this is his exact words.
Can you read that? It's for patrons.
Yeah, because he repeats this in the video. I'm not going to read the whole thing. The thing that's for patrons is, hey, you can, the Patreon stuff of like, oh, you can buy this box and all that stuff. But the first two sentences is. He knows some distributors received 0 boxes, which is something he said in the video, I believe. And he said in the video, which he didn't say in this, he said the last part in the post, but in the video he said I think he ordered like a crap ton of boxes, and they lowered it down to like 40, and then 20, and then 10, and the final number of boxes he got was 6 Force of Will boxes. Was his final number. Mm-hmm. And that was really all that was on the Patreon post. But and one thing he pointed out, which I was like, oh yeah, I guess so. This box that the reprints, the super strong cards, and then this cutting and all of the allotments and all that stuff. This is the first official release of Force of Will box under the new company. All the other stuff. It was still like, tendrils of the last company, or in some way or form, or completely done by them. This is one is 100% on this new company. So the fact that they did that, potentially did this allotment cut, is pretty interesting, which is a connection I didn't quite make. But what was the other post? Someone had commented on the one guy's post saying they had posted about this a couple of days ago, which is when Rudy had posted his thing. So it's something I just missed. It's been a busy week. But what was the other one, Oscar?
I think you mentioned the other one, because technically the one that you were mentioning that came out second came out after the Rudy video, which is what I was trying to say. Okay. Yeah. Which is where the European players had mentioned they didn't get product either.
Okay. So that's basically where we're at right now. So one reason I wanted to get this video out is because this is something that could potentially affect you guys. So it's important to know if you get short box. We'll find out at our locals tomorrow if they got their boxes all correctly and all that stuff. They're at a different distributor than the two we mentioned here. I think I tried contacting them, but I didn't hear back, if I remember right.
Our locals go through Southern Hobby.
Do they? Okay, I'm thinking of there's some distributor I contacted that I haven't heard back from yet. Yeah, so we'll find out about that tomorrow. I want to get this video out because if you get shorted boxes, just know it's not your locals and most likely not the distributor. It's at the higher level, but I'm still working to confirm whether or not, because this could also be some weird crazy scheme by the distributors and it's shorting everyone and trying to pass it off like it's Force of Will. Mm-hmm. It is a possibility still that
is what I'm kind of afraid of, just because it's like, well, there's these distributors who had no issues, and then there's these ones who have had issues, who have also, like, in the past been semi-negative in some way that we may have heard by rumor. So I'm not going to say anything about it, but like that, they were not necessarily on the side of Force of Will. Like, they're seeing it phase out, So it's kind of like, I'm like, where does this all stand in the end,
Yeah, I mean, distributors, some of them have always, not treated Force of Will super great, as we've seen with promos even to this day. Stuff is always a good example, but, they still want to get product out there, so you don't want to like if you have pre-orders and it's that's just money on the table, whether you feel about a company, you're still going to go for money. So that's why I find it kind of not sorry if my computer's loud, I don't know why it is, but I don't know why they would do that, but obviously we don't know. But it is also disheartening because if this is something like Rudy had speculated that this is something the company might have done on purpose to sort of drive up the value of the boxes and increase, you permanently sell stuff and it creates whatever, specifics. You can go watch his video. He does all the finance stuff. But the downside of that, one that's very obviously short-sighted, and the most obvious example was, I don't know if it was in the screen grab image. Was it? Let me double check. Oh yeah, like the person who messaged the guy that messaged us originally this morning said that they're very disappointed in Force of Will. I already told them that this order will be last, and yes, we are no longer selling Force of Will in the future after they cut us big this time. After they cut us big time. So that's instantly one person who's just said that they're no longer going to run Force of Will or buy and sell Force of Will because of this. So you have to imagine if this is something that actually for sure happened, that Force of Will did, that's not going to be the only person that does that. Because let's imagine that I'm a store and you're buying from me, Oscar, and you pre-ordered 2 boxes and you gave me $200. And I'm like, okay. And if I'm a business, I don't know how businesses work, but maybe I also already took that $200 and spent it to elsewhere or did some other stuff. You know how all that stuff works. Or even if you don't and you set it aside, even going by that and all of a sudden the box doesn't come out, it's still, the player isn't going to necessarily side on you. If you send them a message like, no, it's not me, it's the company, they're going to be like, yeah, likely story, you're just trying to cover your back. And now you get a negative review on eBay or just a customer who doesn't come back and stuff. So it's not, even if you refund them and you're not out technically any money, or you could be depending on the situation, it's still, you're potentially losing customers who are like, what? But when I ordered from this person, maybe one of the stores that worked with a Southern Hobby, who got all their boxes, I got all my stuff, so obviously you're lying. So it's could potentially be a very not great situation, depending on what it ends up being. What are your thoughts, Oscar?
I was thinking it's definitely in the air. Like for some distributors to get it, some not to get it. That's my main concern right there. Is just like where is that slip then? What happened and where did it happen?
Yeah.
Because it almost sounds like maybe some distributors just didn't order enough product, thinking that they didn't. That I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know, man. Well, it seems fishy.
It definitely is. There's for sure, from what I heard, I forget if it was Rudy in his video or something else. It sounded like they basically confirmed for sure the printer did not make as many boxes as was going to be originally for a variety of reasons. But whether that equals the amount that were cut by is a separate issue, because they might have just made not to make that 10% extra.
It just seems weird to say, oh, the printer didn't make enough. Force will tell them to stop at a certain point. It's like, okay, then what rule of distribution did they go by after that? Did they get a list as an alphabetical order and then send out working from the top going down? And so the people at the bottom that were distributors at the bottom levels, they only got like small percentages of boxes because that was what was left at the end, and some distributors got nothing because they ran out of product? Or were they like, okay, let's divvy it up, who sells the most product? Here, send Southern Hobby all their product. We can only afford to send GTS this much product. They'll have to cut orders. If that's the case, that Force will pull the plug at a certain point, it's like, okay, then what distribution did they go by when they're sending that product out?
That actually would technically make sense, because that's something we've heard a lot of times when you have, like, say, I'm trying to think of what it was. Was it Magic or whatever? Where it's like, okay, we have 100 of these boxes. Obviously, the number is arbitrary, but we have these 3 distributors or 3 stores. This store always buys 50% of our product. This one always buys 40%, and this one buys 10%. So we're going to take these 100 boxes and we'll give like 50 to 60 to the first person, some amount to this person, and if there's any left, we'll give like 5 to the last person. And whoever's the lowest buyer quantity, even though they're paying more per box or the same amount per box, whatever, they want to appease the big ones that are going to always be buying stuff. So if Southern Hobby is the biggest buyer for Force of Will, it would make sense that they're like, okay, here's most of the stuff that you guys usually buy. Here it all is. Next lowest one is this one, and then in Canada or whatever, and the next one is GTS, and then they're like, this is all we have left, which is 80% less than usual, but it's just what do we have left over. So that also could be where it's not like an intentional theme, like Rudy said. It's just like, hey, their printers couldn't print fast enough, because if you guys look, these cards are like 1,000 times better quality than they've been in the past. So maybe an issue like that came up, or there could be intentionality to it, or like we're saying, it could be something at the distributors, and just Southern Hobby is and the one in Canada are the ones on the up and up, whereas the ones in Europe and GTS are not as much in the up and up, which unfortunately we won't know for sure until I hear back, get email back. So hopefully I get an email back. But
I'm kind of surprised Southern Hobby even messaged you back, period, because
they're
like,
quick.
Not being a store, like I'm surprised they're even communicating with you, period.
And it's funny because they messaged me back real quick. I messaged GTS on Facebook originally. They left me on red like little douchebags. I had originally messaged the wrong Facebook page for same company, GTS, but they have a separate Facebook page. That one replied to me real quick and like, oh, you want this page instead to get that question answered. So I went over there. They left me on red, so I sent an email instead to see if that'll help. But I assume that's going to take a while to hear back from.
They're like, oh, we were going to reply, and you called us douchebags in your videos. So.
Yeah.
Now we're not going to reply.
Everyone knows. They should know as a company that Facebook Messenger tells me when you've looked at your message. So
they probably know. Yeah. They're probably just like, that's not a store. I'm not going to communicate with this guy.
But so we'll have to wait to find out the specifics. But I'm hoping it's not forcible that did this, because I would very much not like that. That's something that the company would do, especially like I pointed out for the very first product release under the new company, like 100%.
Yeah, I mean, and if they did do it and there was reason, it's not like we'd ever really hear that reason, you know?
Yeah.
To where they come out and said, this happened and we could have announced it earlier. I'm sorry. This, you know, this, and this. And it's like, yeah, it would make the situation better, but like if they like had announced it when it was taking place, it's like, oh, now we're all understanding what's happening. But now there's no explanation, and then there won't be, you know.
If only there was some way to contact the company and hear back. The fact that I got a faster response from Southern Hobby than I've gotten from Force of Will ever since the company took over in February. Spoiler: I've tried contacting the new company. Never have gotten a message back since February. Talk to Jeff all the time. He's not even part of the company. I've gotten more information about the new company from Jeff than anything else. But yeah, it's just it sucks because the company could clear this up real quick. Of like, if they came out and like, no, this isn't us. The distributors are being douchebags. Be like, okay, good to know. I'm glad you guys told us. Mm-hmm. But them not coming forward again, even though we know they don't communicate, still. Even if that's a consistent thing that they don't communicate, them not coming out to talk about this at any point would still, I think, be bad on them when they could easily clear this up. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, I guess. But
we'll see what happens. I think it's kind of where we leave this at this point, and we just wait.
I guess let us know below also how you guys are at your local game stores and stuff like that. If you got all your product, or if not, and your thoughts on this situation. Do you think? What might be going on here? If you have any information, let us know as well. If you have any contacts with distributors.
Yeah, let's say if any of you can get us in touch with distributors, we can get more information off that. That'd be cool. You can message us on Facebook or comment below, but I think Facebook would be a little bit better.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
See ya.